plan is to get the rest of the wiring ran through the rear half of this chassis. We did get beat up a little bit this morning. Basically, we would put our chase string through here and it would get wrapped around our brake line that's also running through the frame. So we had to unhook the brake lines, do some jiggling, tie some leads on here, pull them through. We had to get a fish tape and pull it through. We took a little bit of a butt whooping, but we finally got the wiring pulled through the frame like it should be. And Ron's gonna finish buttoning up all the stuff on the fuel pump wiring, and I'm gonna start putting in some of the inner fender panels and the wheel tubs and stuff up front and try to get that stuff a little closer. That's what we're doing. That's the plan today. We're going to be putting the bed on here later today, so we thought we'd go over what we did on the fuel system. So my truck has an LT4 in it, and it's got a supercharger. And so the fuel system is something that we've worked on for a couple of years with some friends of mine that also ran LT stuff in the past. And we figured out a pump system that seems to hold up, and I'll show you what we're doing here. So we got our stainless tank, and we mounted our regulator and our filter and a flex fuel sensor all to the tank with our return line returning straight to the fuel tank, and then it basically simplifies our fuel lines going forward. So then we only need one fuel line going forward, and it returns right back to the tank right from the regulator. So that's kind of how we compacted that stuff in there to try to save space and keep a cleaner run on the frame rails with the fuel line. And then this is our pump system. This is something I designed about a year and a half ago, and it holds 3 pumps. Now these could all be used for supercharged setup or turbo setup, or if you just wanted to have multiple pumps for whatever other reasons, you could do that. My truck is set up is I have a Walboro pump for my first pump that is equivalent to like just a Chevy Silverado pump, and that's what runs the motor in a continuous duty where it's just, you know, driving around town and doing whatever. And then my secondary pump is a Hellcat pump that has a lot of volume and a lot of pressure, but it's not a continuous duty, so it only runs when the truck sees boost. So we have it hooked up to a Hobbs switch that when it hits, like, what is it, 4 pounds of boost, something like that?
I thought it was like 6, but
I think it's like 4 to 6 pounds of boost. It turns the secondary pump on and supplies enough fuel to get high in the boost range. My truck makes like around 20, 21 pounds of boost, and between these 2 pumps, it will keep it happy. And then the third pump is just another Walboro Silverado pump, and what I did with it is used it as a spare pump. So I do a lot of driving and stuff in my truck, and if I was to lose a pump, I wouldn't want to be stranded, and I don't want to have to drop all this on the side of the road to try to fix it. So my truck from the factory was a dual tank truck, so I have a switch in my dash. So Ron wired it all up to where if I lose pump 1 or pump 2, I can flip the switch and it'll override everything and turn pump 3 on so that I'm basically not stranded. But if you were doing something that makes more power than my truck, you could hook third pump up to another input and basically kick it on if you were making like 30 pounds of boost or more, and you could technically run all 3 pumps that way. But mine's just set up with 2 pumps and a spare. That's how I got set up. The other cool thing about our pump head setup that I built here is all the fittings swivel 360 degrees. So if you want to route your lines a specific way, you can. Instead of just being married to, some of them just come out at a 45 degree and that's what you're stuck with. And by the time you add your fittings and everything on here, it's this big of a mess, you know. So these things will swivel and you can set them up, point in whatever direction you want, and it just kind of cleans it up. Same deal with the wiring. There's some heads that have bolts sticking up through here and you just put O-ring terminals on them. I don't like that because by the time you put all those terminals around here, you just got this mess of wires hanging out. And I don't like doing that, and I don't like leaving all those bolts exposed up here where something could contact them and short out. So found this little connector right here, and it will run all 3 pumps. It's got 6 pins in there, and it also rotates 360 degrees. So if you want your wiring to come out over here or over there, whatever, you can just spin this, run your wiring that direction, and it's just a lot cleaner setup. This is the other side of it right here.
And the plugs are also weatherproof.
Yep, so it's a weatherproof plug, so you're not going to worry about anything shorting out. And these also have a built-in return. Underneath the head, it ties all 3 pumps together and goes out one outlet. And then when it returns, it loses its pressure right here, disperses the fuel, dumps any residual into the bottom. And instead of just blowing like 60 psi right into the bottom and cavitating the pumps, it actually disperses the pressure up here and relieves anything that's left right there. So that's how our little pump head assembly works. That's what I'm running in my truck. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. What's controlling this fuel system right now? We have a Ford Innovations fuel pump controller. We got 4-gauge wire supply from the battery. Like I said, it is controlling 3 pumps. 1 pump, the main pump is just triggered off the ECU. The secondary pump is triggered off the Hob switch, and then I got a second relay over here that'll be activated off the dash switch to turn on that 3rd pump. And then we also have an extra wire inside here that'll attach to the flex fuel sensor on the return line, so it can run E85 or pump gas.
Anyways, that's what we're working on today, guys. We just wanted to show you that before we put the bed back on. Watching our video. Be sure to subscribe to see more videos on tech tips, installs, and even our custom builds.